Hey guys, Ultimatum League brought us new uniques and skills, and one of those is Relic of the Pact, which has one of the most unique skills in Path of Exile. So it's time for another What's Unique About This unique video, where I talk about how this one works, show you how it looks, and discuss different ways of building around it. This can be pretty confusing, so I will throw some numbers and examples on the screen. I'm also going to jump ahead and stop you. I can see you typing Ivory Tower in the comments. I will explain why it may not be good a bit later in this video. Just to sort of prepare topics in advance, I think you need to think about 3 things when building around it. How to scale damage, how to survive using this skill, and how to balance reservation and cast speed. Also, I will not include Path of Building import code in this video because I am still making this build, so you will have to wait for my next video, or you can jump onto my stream and see what I'm doing with this. So, Relic of the Pact 1 is level 24 weapon, which grants Blood Sacrament skill, and your critical strike chance is lucky while on low life. Lucky crit is the same as on Diamond Flask, you roll critical strike chance twice, so it just increases your effective critical strike chance. Blood Sacrament skill, unlike any other skill in this game, reserves life while you channel it and scales damage and radius based on that reserved life. Very often PoE wiki does not have up-to-date info, so I use poedb.tw website, which is just a data mine info. Here we can see more info about the skills, how it scales, what tags it has. So it is a channeling physical spell. It channels from a center of your character, but it is a Nova spell. So you can use Astral Projector Ring, which basically turns this into Flame Blast spell with different visuals and scaling. Fun fact. There was a bug which is now fixed, and you could apply Flame Blast MTX to this skill. Blood Sacrament spell does from 14 to 20 damage, gains 0 plus 4 to radius per 1% life reserved by this skill. This is important, reserved by this skill. 80% more damage with hits and ailments per 10 life reserved by this skill, again important, reserved by this skill. And lastly, it also has 2% of the damage reach as life. You may have already noticed some insane numbers. 80% more per 10 flat life. If you reserve 5000 life, you boost this skill damage by 40,000% more.
It's over 9,000!
These right there are some Diablo 3 numbers. And I can already hear people poking out about this, so let me unpog you. This skill has 3% effectiveness of AD damage. Yes, only 3%. Meaning that if you get plus 100 flat damage to spells, the skill would only get plus 3 to flat damage to its base damage. This skill reserves 3% life and has 5% base critical strike chance. The skill states that it cannot be cast by totems. And of course, as always, this unique item does not need to be linked to be affected by the support gems inside it, unless you want to do some casual channeling. By the way, casual channeling will aim at you, so using casual channeling Lightning Warp for example is not going to get you anywhere. Unless maybe you add Astral Projector, I haven't tested that. So, knowing that it is a channeling physical spell that does not cost life or mana, we can start thinking how to scale it. Based on its cast speed and reservation, it would take you almost 8 seconds to reach its maximum stage and reserve 99% of your life, which at that point would give you plus 39.6 to radius. Remember that this skill does not cost life, so you cannot increase this reservation with things that increase the cost of skills. However, you can increase it with a mod that you normally do not want on your build, and that is increased reservation of skills. Essence Worm and Supreme Ego are big sources of that. In fact, I started using this weapon at level 40 with 2 Essence Worm and a lot of life regeneration. Leveling was surprisingly smooth, and if you place a sticky note on your monitor to cover your health bar, then it's not even scary to use the skill. But seriously, once I put a bunch of unique items and supported the skill with the right gems, it was pretty pleasant leveling experience going through 10 acts. Of course, if you want to play hardcore with this, maybe wait for level 70 plus when you can equip most of your endgame items. Items that I was using for leveling were 2 Essence Worm Rings, Replica Zirit's Foible, the Oak Shield, and anything that would increase life and life regeneration. For support gems, you want biggest cost and reservation multiplier to speed up skill. Life Tap support gem has 200% reservation multiplier, but since Blood Sacrament does not cost life, you will need to gain Life Tap buff by also linking it to some other skill like Dash, Steel Skin, etc. Another big gem is Arrogance, and this one is weird. It gives no damage because Arrogance is used mostly for auras to boost their effect, but Blood Sacrament is not an aura. However, Arrogance support gem has 220% reservation multiplier. So for leveling I was using Life Tap, Arrogance and Combustion. With this setup it brings reservation to 28.51%. Blood Sacrament's cast time is 0.24 seconds. So after 3 ticks you will reserve 85.53% of your life and will be unable to tick one more time because that would bring you below 0% of your life. So the skill will automatically go boom when it can no longer reserve any more life. And this was surprisingly smooth leveling, because even if you don't get any cast speed, it still takes 0.72 seconds to cast powered up skill. Also at that point you are getting plus 34 to radius, so clear speed is pretty good as well. You will probably want to use this until you get Supreme Ego or get some crazy cast speed. I'm talking 80-100% plus cast speed. For comparison, to reach the same speed and smoothness, if you were to replace Arrogance with Control Destruction, each tick would be 16.84% reservation and would tick 5 times, so you would need around 73% increased cast speed to reach maximum stage, in comparison to Arrogance Support Gem. And that is equivalent to level 40 quality 38 faster casting to match that speed. So early on, Arrogance Support Gem works like a mega faster casting support gem. Some builds may choose to continue using Arrogance and go for 2 ticks, which essentially is much less damage per boom, but a lot more frequent booms. While we are talking about ticks, in Path of Building it is called stages. It may be a bit confusing how to set up PUB to show proper DPS for your build, so I want to also show how to do it. First, look at life reservation. Go to Calcs tab because it shows more accurate value. Now count how many of those ticks it would take before you could no longer tick again, and that is going to be the stages number that you enter. By default, with no items or supports, it would take 3% times 33 to reach 99%. And in my case, skill reserves 19.65%. So it can tick 5 times, bringing me at 98.25% reservation. So I would enter 5 stages, and that is going to show my damage and radius. Now let's talk about how to survive this skill. I would say there are 2 ways of surviving: going big life and reserving to around 30% of remaining HP and then very quickly recovering it, or going decent life and then energy shield with some sort of method to prevent hero's damage from bypassing energy shield. Because if you reserve 98% of your life and some snake spits on you for 200 damage, you would be dead, even if you had 10,000 energy shield. So for that you would want to use something like Chevron's Wrapping, Coruscating Elixir or Ivory Tower. My reason for why I think Ivory Tower is not a good idea is simply because it does not heal your current energy shield. It only increases maximum energy shield. If you take damage, lose some energy shield and then cast Blood Sacrament, you will still have the same amount of current energy shield and only gain maximum energy shield. As shown in this clip, if you have full energy shield, it looks like Ivory Tower works amazingly well. But if I'm not on full ES, then Ivory Tower is basically useless unless you are also building big mana pool and do not plan on reserving much mana, leaving room for hero's damage to drain mana before draining life. While this method may work against hero's damage, but you would still need to worry about physical and elemental damage draining your energy shield and hitting life. So basically that energy shield that you gain from Ivory Tower is wasted, and you would still need to find the right method of protecting yourself. Maybe a big mind double meta and mitigation, but I haven't experimented with this idea, so I don't know. A simpler method would be Chevron's Wrapping. You would still want to build a high life pool because life is damage, but you also would want a big energy shield pool, just like normal low life builds would get. And if you also want to build this as a crit, well, how do you get enough passive points to get big life, big ES, good enough crit chance, high enough crit multiplier, high cast speed? So that is tricky. I chose to build the hybrid life and ES, but using Coruscating Elixir. While this flask is active, it makes hero's damage unable to bypass energy shield. But my issue is that I won't be able to get more than 4,500 energy shield, which may not be enough for endgame. But scaling damage is also another question. You need to find balance between how much life to get versus how much increased damage versus how much flare damage versus how much critical multiplier if you are building for critical, and how much reservation and cast speed you want. Also, just to quickly mention a couple other things that 80% of the viewers will not see because it is at the end of the video and will ask in the comments. While this skill has no cost, only a reservation, you can give it cost with Voidbringer gloves. If using life tap support, it will become life cost. and it will activate life tap support without the need of other skills. You could use Indigon with Voidbringer like this, but then no life tap, which has a big reservation multiplier, or you would have to use some other skill to power up Indigon, which could become too clunky, and you would need to build big mana pool in addition. Another thing to note that Archmage does not work with this, because Archmage specifies that it only works with skills that have no reservation. And I already mentioned that it does not work with totems, and since it is a challenge spell, you cannot trigger it. So there you have it. I think the skill is very interesting and unusual, but I'm having a hard time imagining it doing endgame content on a casual budget. If you have some ideas about this, you can share them in the comments below. I will finish my build in another 1 or 2 days, and then I will have a better opinion about its viability for endgame. So you're gonna have to wait for PUB until my next video or check out my streams, links are in the description. One last thing, you probably heard about Nexus Store, and I hate doing sales page, but recently Nexus changed some things, and now you can support content creators not just by purchasing displayed games or PoE MTXs, but by purchasing any game or PoE MTXs in their catalog through search, which is pretty cool. And if you're looking for some game or MTX, consider doing it through my Nexus Store. It doesn't cost you any extra, and it also supports me. Win-win! That's it for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.